Welcome. Merrill Chandler here with the Fundability Report. This week in lender news, excuse me, we've got a couple of things that are occurring in the marketplace having to do with credit cards, lender awareness, and even some government intervention. So let's take it from the top. Number one, as happens, and it's happened every single recession for the 5 that I've been through in my lifetime, credit card balances continue to grow in December. People, borrowers continue to use their credit cards as that middle space to take care of, to either prepare and garnering food and stores for longer term shopping in bigger bulk so that they have more on hand, especially during the winter months. At least in the West, we're at 250% of snowfall. So there are a number of even climate reasons this winter has a high impact. So number one, we're moving towards the costs are more expensive for lower debt, credit lines, et cetera. And so people are using their credit cards to augment their income or prepare for possible financial problems. And so it's never not happened. It always happens. And right now it's continuing to happen. So remember, for fundability purposes, I'd like to remind you that number one, there is that the threshold is we want to keep at the close of our statements. At the close of our statements, we want our balances, wherever possible, to be under 10%. And where possible, make the payment to zero on the due date, right? That's how we avoid interest, and that's how we avoid capturing the negative attention of lenders by having too high balances. The next threshold is 28%. So if we can keep one or more or all of our cards under 28% of the limit, our balances at 28% of the limit, at the time our statement closes, meaning making a payment down to less than 28%, if possible, we're going to be better. So spread purchases, as I've said all winter long, spread purchases between different credit cards to keep it under that 10%, then 28%. The final percent that matters is under 38%. Over 38%. Is when many credit card issuers will send you to the risk department just to have an extra set of eyes on your file, on your account. So if we can keep it under that 40%, then we're going to be okay. But just remember, balances are going up. Be careful how you use it, and that's what you can count on. For me, is just what to do if we have to use our credit to make ends meet or as a stopgap between our income and our expenses. Then at least let's use it to best maximize our fundability and our opportunities of future credit. Now, the next one is, so the Biden administration has announced the intent. It's just moving into, it hasn't been passed, but it is pushing the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is pushing that late fees. If you pay on time on the due date, no harm, no foul. Usually between 10 and 15, sometimes some credit cards are 20 days, they will charge a late fee for being late in that and not paying it on the due date. So if it goes past, let's call it the 15th. If you make a payment after the late charge date, you're going to get hit $10, $25, $41 or more dollars for paying late. Now, that is a regressive, think of it as a tax that the lenders are trying to inspire you. Don't pay it late, pay it on time. And if you're going to pay it late, then I'm going to charge you for it. Well, interestingly enough, this proposal from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is making it a mandatory no more than $8 for a late charge. And I understand the reason behind it is because for many lower income credit holders, it $41, $25 for paying late because they're trying to work their budget to make their minimum payments. That extra late fee can accrue and start taking more and more money out of their pockets. And as a result, because those late fees are not added to the balance, those late fees are on top of the next minimum payment for most credit cards. So I don't weigh in pluses or minuses of it. What I know is that what matters to me is your fundability. And what also matters is your cash flow. But if you pay it on day 2, it's no different to your fundability score than if you pay day 14. Your fundability takes a hit at day 15, if that's when the trigger date is for late fees. But then all the way up to day 29, you're fine again. You're no more score loss unless it goes to 30 days late. So the big place that we need to focus on is what can we do to make sure that we can make the minimum payment on the due date before the end of business on the due date, because that's going to keep us in the highest functionality of our fundability, and it's going to continue to make us the most fundable. So be on the lookout for that. We'll continue watching this as it happens. But it would be a great savings for people, but I don't know if it's going to motivate people to make the payment before the due date. If they can't, of $8 or $25 or $40, if someone doesn't have that money to pay on the 1st, let's say the due date's on the 1st, they may not have it on the 5th or the 10th. And if they're going to pass the late date where the fees are charged, they're doing their best. So I see both sides of it. Higher fees motivate people to pay it so they don't lose money. Lower fees say if you haven't got the money by the due date, you're scrambling already. And so this may ameliorate some of the financial pain of trying to make the payment as soon as you possibly can. So more on that as we hear. Now, the last one is not necessarily, didn't see this one coming per se, but the DeSantis, the governor of Florida, is announcing a bill. It has not passed, but announcing a bill in Florida to ban social credit scores. Now, social credit scores is anything that would tell a customer based on religious, political, social beliefs, anything that isn't strictly financial. And so the algorithm, corporate, the green movement, and the economics and the green governance programs, where the more you save on your carbon footprint, the higher your governance score is, et cetera. There's a lot of things happening out there, but the social credit score does evaluate things that are different than your meeting of your financial commitments. And so we'll keep track of what's going on there, but there are other conservative states that will definitely probably get in line with this, especially if it's successful. So be watching for that. Social credit scores, and China is huge on social credit scores. They don't even have a strictly credit score per se. It's how do you relate to the entire society? Financial commitments is one of many metrics that are measured. Excuse me. So we will keep on that track as well. So this is Merrill Chandler calling it a day here on the Fundability Report. I love these. I love the Fundability Report because I get to just tap into with the research of my podcast and content manager, Sky Copier. We finds amazing articles to keep us and to keep you in tune. And how do we address our fundability issues with true with things that are happening in the lender marketplace. This is Merrill Chandler. I'll see you next time, Tuesdays, 3:45 Mountain Time.